y él ha estado conectado desde muy temprano. Él es Chris Wei, él es director de inversiones de Essential Capital, que es un fondo de capital de riesgo que ha invertido en diferentes proyectos, en diferentes empresas relacionadas al sector de tecnología espacial, cohetes espaciales, empresas de investigación y desarrollo y manufactura de tecnología espacial. Y entonces le voy a dar la bienvenida. Su presentación va a ser en inglés. También pueden seguir dejándonos sus preguntas en el chat para que después Chris nos pueda acompañar. Chris, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, thanks so much, Chris, for joining us this morning. I was just introducing yourself to the audience. We are about 130 people
Wow.
waiting for your presentation. And we are very excited to know more about what is happening in the technology sector here in China. So your presentation is really important for us because having this vision will allow us also to Peruvian people or people from Latin America to know more about this field. So we really appreciate that you are here today. Go ahead.
Okay, hola everyone. I'm honored to be here to share with you some of my experience in these fields. In the last 5 years, we have deep communications with more than 1,000 startups and more than 100 startups in the fields of aerospace. And we also have great communications with international communities like Startup Weekends in the last several years. So today I'm going to share the challenges and opportunities for private space companies in China, and from the perspective of investment company. And I will have share my presentation will have 4 aspects. The first is about who we are, about the essential capital, and in the second part, I will introduce and share the experience of 2 companies we have invested, and the third and the fourth is about the challenges and opportunities for them. And let's begin with our essential capital. Okay, next page. Because of the technology problems, I cannot share my screen, so it will be trouble for Bessie to control the screen from her side. Okay, the first is about essential capital. We are a professional venture capital. It is a small organization. It is not but we have advantage of the small team, because we all have connections with like Beijing University, with high institutions in China. Most of our team members were graduated from these kind of universities, so we know the technologies. So we can judge and from the communications with the startups and know how they will be. So and from my experience, we from our engagement in venture capital investments, the returns for us is not bad. And for our most of our members, they were experts, professionals from industry and IT technologists, and also most of our members graduated from Beijing University. Next, I will introduce about Beijing University. And the value of our capital, essential capital, we insist the strategy of technology driven and plus the industry chain investment. We not just invest these companies, we also have to help them to grow. We will help them to seize opportunities. We will also provide resources they needed, like government resources, money from other investments, also the orders from the markets. We try our best to help them to grow up. So from this background, we have maximized the, also have to say, in other words, is optimized the investment return. by comprehensive and post-investment value and added services. And also from that, like I have mentioned, we have a great connection with the Beijing University. Maybe most of you guys are unfamiliar with this university. It is it's one of the top universities in China. And in last 2 years, due to the trade war between China and the United States, this university is on the list, which were banned by the United States because of its advantages in science and technology. Basically, next page, about Beijing University. Beijing University, previously known as Beijing University of Aeronautics and Astronautics. From this name, you can clearly see that its distinctive advantages is aeronautics and astronautics. Most of the founders of private space companies are graduated from this university. This university is an open, comprehensive, research-oriented university with focuses on aeronautics, astronautics, and informatics. Maybe you don't know that the one popular drone is also developed and manufactured by this university. It is sold to the Middle East. So that's why it's on the list of American United States. Now because our company is located in this university, so maybe it is difficult for me to go to United States to also to America to in the future to have a communication face to face with you guys, but it is also a good way to communicate, to have contacts with you through a webinar. And the next page is about the faculty members, staff members, and the laboratories of Beijing University. This page is show that the research level of this university. We have 26 academicians of either Chinese Academy of Science or the Chinese Academy of Engineering. I just want to demonstrate that we have communications with the university, because a lot of people always ask me about, do you know the professional knowledge of aerospace? How can you judge the companies whether they are worth to invest or not from the professional levels? I always show the connections between us and the university, Beijing University, and tell them we have the team, professional team from this university, so we can invest private companies in this field. Also, okay, for the next part, I will share some experience. 2 companies we have invested in this field. The first is Galactic Energy. Okay, next page, the Galactic Energy. This company is new. It's established in 2018. More than 2 years history. The private company, aerospace companies started from 2015 because of the government restriction in this field is not that strict, and the government encourage investments to this field. So many people from the system, we call this system because of them working for the government. This is the opportunity because they have raised a lot of money from the social investment, so they do the startups by themselves. For Galactic Energy, compared with other startups in China, they really started late, only in 2018, but they developed very quick. only with 2 years of history. They raised a lot of money. The team is becoming stronger and stronger. When we first talked with them about their ideas about the aerospace, especially the founder, that is the number one reason why we invested in them, because for our company, we concern the team first, especially for the founder, because he is the core energy for the company's development. The team is strong because 90% of the staff have more than 5 years working experience in space flight industry. Everyone knows that for a student just graduate from a university, they have no experience in these fields. It is hard for them to develop. So they still need some years to study and gain experience in their working years. For this company, they started in 2018, and in last year, just 2020, due to the COVID-19, even in the course of COVID-19, they launched their first rocket, and I will talk about it later. And next page, we can see the products and the services of this company. They have services in solid propellant launch vehicle, liquid propellant launch vehicle, and also they made their engines. Okay, this is their core advantages in China, in the rockets companies. Okay, next page. Here, what I want to emphasize about this company. As I have mentioned, even less than 2 years or almost 2 years history, they launched their solid rocket in last year, in November 7th, 2020. I went to the site and I see and witness the launch of the vehicle, a commercial carrier rocket. They named it Series 1. It was successfully launched from the Zhuquan Satellite Launch Center. It is their first trial, but they successfully and accurately sent the satellite to the solar synchronous orbit. It is a remarkable achievement for the private rocket company in China. There are only 2 companies have did this in China. So for the valuation of this company, now their valuation is about $800 million. But when we invested them from the first stage, it's only valued $20 million. So the development is so huge, and now the investors are seeking to have a cooperation with them. Now, for this moment, they are trying to raise another round, almost around more than $200 million. And the second company I want to share is the Beijing Aerospace Satelliteherd. Basically, another next page. This company is not making satellites or rockets, but they provide services for rockets and satellites. It's a commercial satellite in orbit integrated management and aerospace data service provider. The team also were very experienced in space engineering. When we first talked with them, the founder is only 30 plus years old. He's very young in this. He's very young in this field, but his knowledge, his experience, also he's a far-sighted man in these areas. So with several rounds of communication, we decided to invest them. When we invested them, the valuation is only 20 million US dollars, but now the valuation is 200 million US dollars. And for them, they have built a lot of stations around the world, especially in Asia, also in Argentina. And next page, we can see the products and the services of them. As a leading private satellite service provider in China, Satelliteherd focuses on space-to-Earth communication solutions for commercial satellites, covering satellite onboard communication products, ground station construction, satellite and data reception, and integrated on-orbit management. And but now they for them, also for the private space companies in China, they have a lot of problems, challenges, because it is how for them to get orders from the market, like SpaceX, is really a problem. So next I will talk about the challenges for them. Okay, next page. Next, the first I want to talk about is the international competition. It has become fiercer and fiercer. Everybody knows that in the aerospace companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin is famous and fast growing in today. But we also need concern about the backgrounds, the government supports behind their countries, behind these companies. We know that aerospace technology is a comprehensive capability and a strength of a country. So from a global perspective, the development of the world's aerospace industry is very uneven. Everybody knows that then basically forming a situation where the United States dominates in this field, and followed by Europe and Russia. Countries like Japan, China, and South Korea are trying to catch up. Besides, the countries like United States, European Union, they have introduced laws to support private companies in participate in these fields. But now China have limited laws in these fields. So and they're still working in the laws to support the private companies. And the next page is about the research problems. For Chinese private aerospace companies, they started late. Most of them are from 2015 to 2016. For the aerospace field, in the aerospace, China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation and the China Aerospace Science and Industry Corporation are the main forces in the development of this field. So, and the second problem is, at this stage, China's startup private aerospace companies rely entirely on financing to survive. Because it's not easy for them to get orders from the market. They cannot fulfill their developments from the money they get from the markets. So the pace of their development is highly restricted by capital and time. And the cost of a trial and error is extremely high. For the Galactic Energy, when they have their first launch, everybody is very nervous. We're very nervous because they afraid of a failure. Because in China, fear means fear means everything for them, because the failure is cost high. For 2 years results, so everyone is we're very nervous and they're afraid of the failure. Because of the investors are very concerned about their money they have invested. And the third is that the solid rocket technology of China's private commercial rocket company is initially mature, but they still have a long road for them to take for the stable and faster launch, let alone be reusable and low-cost liquid propellant launch vehicles. We have news from Chinese private rocket companies. They just launched our the solid propellant engines. No company have ever tried the liquid propellant launch. And from the next page, we can see that. Okay, next page. I have shown several companies, private companies, Landscape, Aerospace, Galactic Energy. They have developed their liquid propellant vehicle, but solid propellant vehicle. But for liquid propellant vehicle, all of them are still in developmental stage. For Aerospace, they will have their first liquid propellant launch trial in 2021. But we will see what will happen. Compared with the international companies like SpaceX, they have their liquid rocket technology is mature, and they are reusable, low cost, quick launch. So for Chinese private space companies, they have great challenges in front of them. But also, from the other side, they have great opportunities in this background. Okay, basically, go to the opportunity pages. Next page. Okay. Due to the competition between in the international level, the Chinese government has announced that aerospace is a national strategy. Though the government have issued a lot of policies to support the development of aerospace, private aerospace. In 2016, in 2014, and also in 2020 and 2021, the governments have issued a lot of policies to encourage the private space companies. Besides, the local governments have issued policies to attract private aerospace companies to set branches with support in land, free land. They can use the land freely. Also with fund support, infrastructure, and so on. So for our company, we also have to deal with local governments, because they come to Beijing very often, because they want to attract companies, high-tech companies, to the local for political and economical reasons. So for the Chinese private aerospace companies, they have great opportunity in this background. And also next page. we all know that the economy of China is still grows strong. So with the rapid development of China's economy, China has seized the development opportunities and has achieved a lot of fruitful results in the fields of space flight, based satellite systems. So the technology has increased a lot. So for the confidence of Chinese is not a problem. And the third advantage is that we have opportunities that the demand for commercial space launches has increased a lot due to the competition between in the aerospace. We afraid that the launches of SpaceX, because the Starlink, they have launched so many satellites into the orbit. So there on the website, on internet, there is a comparison of launches in different countries. Actually, in 2020, the launch of a vehicle is almost similar between the United States and China, but the satellites are quite different. There in orbit, there are more than 1,000 satellites in orbit, but for China, there are only more than 300 satellites. So the Chinese government is want to send more satellites into the orbit, so we will have more demand in this field. So for the space, for the private rocket companies, as well as the satellite companies, they will have a opportunity in the demand. So for them, they have to do more researchers to make their technology more mature, so they can get orders from the market. Also, the aerospace has become a hotspot for investment. The investment institutions are very active in the last 2 years. Most of it seems that almost every investment want to follow this field. So with the opening of policies and rapid development of Chinese aerospace in recent years, so the social capital is not a problem. Like the two companies I have mentioned, the valuation increased great, so the social capital follows up this area. So for the Chinese private aerospace companies, money is not a big problem. The big problem is for them to develop their skills, their technologies. So in this background, they have great pressure, but also they have a great opportunities for them to develop in the next few years, so as to compete with the United States, like SpaceX, Blue Origin. So that's all. That's my experience. Because of the time limited, next time I will, if I have the opportunity, I will share more deep experience and knowledge about this field. Thank you for your listening.
Thanks so much, Chris, for sharing all your knowledge about this space technology sector in China. We find it really interesting to know your perspective as an investor and as someone who has worked with different companies investing capital to develop this sector. So we have some questions here in our chat. I'm going to ask you a couple of them. One of these is made by Javier. He wants to know what's the main characteristics of the aerospatial commerce industry in China. What's that characteristics that maybe makes it different from other industries from other countries?
Can you repeat the question? What
Yeah, what's the main what is the main characteristic that you can mention about the commercial aerospace technology in China? Maybe there is something different that is happening in China that makes this sector special if we compare to other countries?
Okay. There are several characteristics. Firstly, that's because of the gap of the development between China and the United States and also European countries. So the government from the central government and local governments really encourage the companies in this field to develop. So this is the very important for them to develop. We know that I mean government support is not also is not a simple problem, because everybody knows that the China has great economic development. So when the central and the local governments mention the encouragement in these fields, they want to have the hope have a great development in these fields. They will raise a lot of money, millions and millions of money to support them, provide with free land. Like many governments, local governments came to us, they hope to provide land for the high-tech companies, startups, let alone the aerospace companies. So for them to develop, they also will provide money, provide houses, education, a lot of policies to support the companies, the companies members to develop. For the aerospace companies, they cannot get taxes in a short term. So not like the consumer companies, they will see a lot of products in short time and have taxes. Every local government is concerned about the taxes. But for aerospace companies, the taxes is a big problem. So the governments, the central governments and the local governments play their roles in helping the development in aerospace. Is I think maybe it's quite different. Maybe we can say that for SpaceX they get a lot of orders from the NASA, but we should remember that at the first stages of their startup, their development, a lot of people questioned about Elon Musk. They think he's a liar, but he used his own money for Chinese aerospace companies. Most of the founders, they don't have to use their own money to develop their own country. They raised money from the government, from the social capital. I think this is quite different from China, quite different from for China aerospace companies with other countries.
Thank you so much, Chris. I think that has answered also another question. R. Suarez was asking the same. I mean, if these companies, Chinese companies, are subsidized by the Chinese Communist Party, but you have already answered that part. Then we have another question from Javier. It says that what industries were interested in developing the rocket? The industries concerned were merely private or only commercial?
For this aerospace, I have mentioned the two corporations. The main forces for the China Aerospace is the China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation. Another one is the China Aerospace Science and Industry Corporation. But for apart to these countries, for the private companies, we concern not about private companies, also concern about commercial or private aerospace, commercial aerospace companies. So I have changed my the title of the presentation. I mean commercial aerospace companies.
Okay, and Alberto is asking also, do you have a roadmap from central government for Chinese commercial space companies to catch up American companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin? I mean, there is I think you mentioned a little bit about that, some guidelines that the government is setting up for the next years. Maybe you can give us more details about that.
You mean the roadmap for?
Yeah, from the government, a plan that they have to catch up with other, like the biggest American companies.
I mean. In last week, the Chinese, the Beijing government also issued documents to encourage the rocket and satellite companies development. We have several. I have several policies, but all of them were in Chinese version. We don't have an English version, but I will try to translate them and share with you in the next week, or I try my best to translate them. We also have I have made a comparison of the different local governments, their policies, different local governments, their plan. I mean, attract these commercial aerospace companies. The policies are different. So from the lands and money, I have a comparison like that. I will send to you later.
Thank you so much, Chris. I think this information will be really useful for the people who is working on this sector to know more about Chinese developing space technology sector. And we have a lot of last questions because we don't want to take more of your time. This is a question from Arturo. Arturo is asking, what's the ROI that you are expecting from your portfolio, the return of investment that in those companies maybe that you mentioned during your presentation? What's the return that you are expecting for the next years?
Okay, for the return, we have several funds. For the what I mentioned is one fund we have invested them. They have increased a lot. The return from the book is very high because every fund have their time limited. For the first stage, for the first fund, we invested in them in 2022. We will have to get the money back due to the LP requirements, but the two companies, the return are very high. We just invested, how to say, 2,000 RMB. I need to change the number. Just 400. No. $4 million to them. But the return will be more than 20 times. So for different funds, we will have a different time to get the money back. But for us, for our company, we want to help them to grow in a long term. Even for them to go listed. For the Galactic Energy, they will go public listed next year. So for our value, we will try, we'll go with the companies as long as possible, which means a long-term investment.
Great. Thank you so much, Chris, for your presentation and for having the time to join us today, for sharing this really interesting information with all of us. We really appreciate that you can share this knowledge with people from Latin America, and we hope you can join us for another session, maybe in the future. Thank you so much for being here today.
Really appreciate it. So it's my honor to have this opportunity to share with you guys.
Y a todos los participantes el día de hoy también les agradecemos por su asistencia, por sus preguntas, por su interés en este seminario. Le agradecemos también a todas las personas todos los expositores el día de hoy y a las instituciones que nos han apoyado a hacer posible este seminario. Los invitamos a seguir la página web y en las redes sociales también. La página web es www.chinalatam.com. Ustedes también pueden registrarse en esta página web para que puedan acceder a esta información sobre los eventos que vamos a seguir realizando. Y esperamos verlos el día de mañana y el día de pasado mañana también en el siguiente ciclo de conferencias que tenemos. Y bueno, nos despedimos por el día de hoy y les damos las gracias nuevamente.